are live. Oh yeah. Working. The other man's doing my little tool. The other man's doing my little tool. Modeling School. Hello and welcome to Fanboy Modeling School. I am the Fat Mantis. I'm here with my man
Steve, real name, no gimmicks. Happy New Year for
Not a damn
New Year.
Happy New Year. No gimmicks in the new year. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing just capital, my friend. Just capital. How the hell?
Oh, look at that. You're doing some high society booyaka.
I'm falutin'.
Highfalutin society stuff. We look at this. What I'm loving is the chat. We got Rogue Radio up here. Sup, fam? Holla back, Rogue Radio. Of course, we've got this motherfucker right here. We love him. Laney O up in the house. We got Miss Hippie. Always a pleasure to see the lovely Miss Hippie. Hey, fam. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all. It's been a crazy New Year. I know you guys feel like, didn't you just have a show? That was actually the Fat Mantis's Rogue Planet New Year's that Steve crashed, and it was basically became the Fanboy Modeling School New Year's party, and I loved it.
I crashed. I had an invite. I got an invite.
I don't remember what I was saying or doing at that point. As I saw later on, the next day I did watch the video, and I was like, okay. And that explains my decrease in Discord followers today. We lost just 2, but not everyone can handle it.
Yeah, that was absolutely an insane stream, as it were. But
it was elemental. It was raw elemental. That's what streaming's about. Becoming just a raw elemental being and letting it out.
Listen, I've always told you, man, I'll always be there to catch you when you go on a Kanye rant.
I was jealous that he was having all the fun. I was like, what?
You shut the hell up right now.
Izzy says, let's go. Yes, my man. How are you? Happy New Year.
Let's get it.
You were in rare form. Thank you, lady.
So how the hell you doing, man? How's the new 2023 treating you right now?
It's still hectic. I still had some family over up until today, and so it's still still been in holiday mode. But also all the stores are open again, so you have to do I ran 50,000 errands today. Today was you don't do anything during the holidays, and you're like, oh wait, my cats need to eat, and they need litter, and I need food, and I need to mail things, and I need to find a job, and I need to go see my parole officer. All this fun stuff.
Indeed, absolutely, indeed, man. Not a lot going on in Nerddom, just a lot of fan theory. But before we get into all that stuff, we would really appreciate if you're in the live chat and you haven't already, please hit that like button. If you're so inclined, share the stream as well, and make sure you just show us all that free love and support. We appreciate you, truly and honestly.
No, absolutely, yeah. And remember, you like, share, you subscribe, and we will send love back.
Yes.
In whatever form you like love.
Whatever way you like to be loved.
Yeah, and when I say love, I mean tequila. We pay you back in tequila.
Right. But we can't afford the tequila yet, so it's really just a bottle of water with an IOU on it.
My man, I can't even afford to pay my attention right now. Rebeck says, I was here for the chaos. Well, I loved it. I loved having you on the show. That was a very good time. Rogue says, if you can't handle Mantis' drunk sense of humor, I have no hope for y'all. Thank you very much, Rogue. Thank you. Rogue understands me. Make sure to check in with your parole officer. That's very important. Yeah, he's
always
he can be kind of a tight ass.
Always checking with the PO. Let him know what you're doing and who you're doing it with. My brother, real quick, honorable mentions. Not really worth getting into, but I'm sure you're aware of a small internet group by the name of the No Jumper channel, correct?
A small internet group? You mean a thug army that's going to freaking take over the West Side anytime of day now? But yes, I may have heard of them.
So, you got people like, Adam22, who is obviously the owner and proprietor of No Jumper. You have people like Poetic Flacco, AD, Lush, a bunch of people. They're doing their thing over there, right? And they brought on the aforementioned Poetic Flacco. He's one of their newer contributors to the show, but he's wildly popular and infamous. But he's been going through a bit of drama lately over there on No Jumper. Now,
wait, hold on. Their brand is drama, though.
Yes.
That's why he's perfect fit.
Yeah, it most certainly is. Shell Icebox is sliding into the chat. What's up, my brother? Happy New Year.
My brothers, what up? What up, Shellen? Happy New Year. If you haven't heard me if you haven't seen all the many Happy New Year messages from me, I love you, brother. Happy New Year's.
Happy. So Poetic Flacco doesn't really fit the dynamic they have going on there. He's something a little bit different,
He's more dramatic than them. Is that what it is?
No, not more. Well, yes, in a way. He is not a thug, right? He is from North Dakota. He's a Nigerian.
Oh, they get loose in North Dakota.
Oh, very, very loose. Very. But he's on the show now, man, and he's been catching some slack from his coworkers about the controversy surrounding his past. Some people think he's an op, or the ops, as they say in the hood. And, his team that he did a podcast with on Mondays called The Monday Show, most original naming for any show ever. He famously outed the fact that he was leaving the show on that network to pursue his own ventures on No Jumper, and he does more interview-based stuff. And he did not handle it well publicly, right? He did not handle it well publicly at all. And now The Monday Show, to shorten this whole thing up, they just did a stream where they used one of their coworkers as the thumbnail, and the title was Exposing Poetic Flacco. And they talked about his ass for 2 hours. Even had someone who claimed to have gone to high school with him, allegedly, exposing that he's not from North Dakota, but he's actually from Philadelphia.
Wait, hold on. Why would someone lie in reverse?
Exactly.
Philly is a reputable city to be a thug from. Why would you then say you're from North Dakota?
Exactly. I don't know if you caught what Laney said. Music is too loud, Mantis. Let us know when it gets to the right level there.
There we go. So, thank you for that, Laney. Music is way too loud. Okay, there we go. Izzy says, "Hey, I was just watching No Jumper." Yeah. So for starters, that already sounds like hogwash. Right. Lying to say you're from a more rural area. That's insane.
Makes no sense. And but here's the thing, right? So they have a cat over there by the name of AD, and AD is what you would consider a real one, right? He's a very mature dude, but he is a Crip from LA. He's about that life. He's the guy we did a brief talk about on Dope Dynamics, who had beef with China Mac, and they met up and they actually squabbed and then squashed it. So he's a very old school type of guy. But he came out on his own individual show, which is separate from No Jumper, called The Community, where him and his homeboys were defending Flacco, and they were like, "Man, this is kind of a bitch move to talk about someone like this in public that you work with." And they're like,
it is a bitch move. It's a total bitch. Here's what I'm saying: the drama is good when it's out of your crew's circle. Like you don't want here's what it is. You want drama. You want to be a dramatic person to be a content creator. However, you don't want to be making drama with your own people.
Exactly.
You want to do it with outsiders.
Exactly. And I don't think I would want my brand to be built off the fact that I got, content creators squabbling amongst themselves on my
thing. Right? Imagine in the Hold Up Network, if people, it was public that people were like, at each other. It'd be crazy, right?
Absolutely crazy. But that's become what No Jumper's about, man. They're about people getting smacked when they come into the studio. Famously, Adam22, I don't know if you remember this, he is the content creator many moons ago who had a kid run up in the studio with a fake gun and pull it on him live air, and then that kid got fucked up. This is before they had a bunch of gangbangers hanging out there. He got beat up by a bunch of fat skateboarders who were high on opiates. Allegedly. So I wanted to see what your take on that was, man. Content creation, the drama. Does everyone deserve a platform to be voiced? What's too
well,
much?
definitely not. Not everyone deserves a platform. That's utterly insane. How dare you even say that, you psycho? but what I am saying is that in the content game, I will say this: I do wish that I learned how to be more of a drama queen.
Okay.
Because I feel like if I was more of a drama queen. Because I got beef with a lot of these fuckers out here, but I hold my tongue. But however, if I didn't, I feel like that would be hits right there.
No, and listen, man, you know me, I'm not one to hold my tongue, and I don't shy away from beef. Especially, I don't call a lot of things beef. Altercations, internet, otherwise don't really count. But I'm not backing down to anyone.
Steve will brawl with somebody for 6 minutes straight, and he's like, "That wasn't beef. That was a misunderstanding." His shirt will be ripped. Like, yo, fucked up. It was just a little misunderstanding.
Just a little squabble. But yeah, it's great. It's crazy what's going on there. And interestingly enough, so Adam22 went over to the Joe Budden podcast, right? And he was defending some of his choices as the leader of No Jumper and what they made content on. Joe Budden was giving him the drama over Adam monetizing Kevin Samuels' death because he'd done an interview with Kevin Samuels, and then when Kevin passed, he didn't re-release him interview. He did what anyone would do, I think, which was he cut it into shorts and then re-release those.
And so, I mean, that would be crazy. That imagine if like somebody passed away. Somebody, for starters, he gave him the interview because he respects him.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you do an interview with them, and then that person passes. That means you can never use that content. No, it's the other way around. The content creator would be honored if you continue to proliferate it.
Especially if they came on at their own free will, right? And they're not doing Kevin Samuel exposed videos.
That's what I'm saying. They couldn't afford Kevin Samuel, so he clearly went on for good reasons.
Well, they brought him on when he was on the come up. I think sometimes people forget how quick his rise was, like to the top, and so they caught him right. They caught him right when he was like ascending. But Joe Budden has, I think, accurately said some things about the way No Jumper is. But at the same time, I want to show respect to No Jumper because I understand how hard it is to organize an entire channel. I know how hard it is to organize multiple different personalities and keep everyone on the same page.
People in general are difficult.
Yes. And
you know who the fuck you are, motherfucker.
People be tripping. They be tripping.
I got a quick question.
Go for it.
How do you feel about our generation of rappers are now all podcasters?
So in a way,
and YouTubers and shit.
In a way, I think it's the most obvious thing to do, right? I think it's obvious for someone that's caught up in contracts and negotiations I think it's smart for them to have their own thing on YouTube where they are monetizing their content, right? So if I'm paying you're the record label, and Spotify and Apple, I'm getting pennies on the dollar for my streams, right? And then you're getting money out of my even if I was smart, out of my deal for recoup on touring and promotion and stuff like that. I think new artists should definitely monetize on YouTube and Twitch.
I absolutely agree. I think it's great. I actually think it's great that we can see their opinions on stuff. Their personality can be a thing that we think, and it is true. People don't realize this, but in the music game, this is crazy. When I found this out, I was like, that makes no sense.
Right.
Artists actually make very little off of albums, and they make most of their shit on touring. Breaking their backs touring.
Yeah.
And if you really want to support like an artist, fuck the album, because that's the record label getting rich off of that. Just go to their every time they're in town, go to their
show. I mean, buy the record for sure, or download it or subscribe to Apple, stream the shit out of it. But no, I think you need to do it. I'm also for actors. I'm for people embracing new media, right? Put the stranglehold on the people who've held the control of information for so long.
Unless you're Brie Larson, because her YouTube channel is just cringe.
Yeah, get off the internet.
Get off the internet, girl. Just turn it off, girl. Just turn it off.
You weren't made for these streets. Hippie says, how do you organize personalities, Steve? So quite literally, when it comes to dealing with group dynamics, as you know, Hippie, you also being in the mental health field, being educated in it, whenever I'm dealing with a group of people, now hear this is pure science. I always start off with, I am the dominant personality. unless that person
right.
is as
That's what he
dominant
does.
as me, and then we have to come to some type of agreement where there will be peace in the valley between us.
He means hitting. Hitting will happen.
Otherwise than that, I try to look at people that I'm working with and try to understand where they're coming from, right? Are we moving in the same direction? If we're not, then we can't fuck with each other. And I've learned that. If we're not moving in the same direction, if we can't communicate, and most importantly, we can't come back together with some good old-fashioned conflict resolution. And also, if you fuck with me or mine, I'm always gonna have a problem with you, as Mantis knows. You just because Mantis is cool with you fucking with him doesn't mean I'm gonna be cool with it. And then
who am I cool with? Because remember, this is 2023 now, and I got a hit list.
Oh,
they're all going down.
Yes, the redistribution of souls list.
Yes, by the end of this year, there's going to be a bunch of my haters are going to be bathing in gasoline.
Ah, yes, the metaphorical gasoline.
Yes, metaphoric, of course. Metaphoric, of course. Today on the news, you know about this congressman who lied totally about everything about his life? He said he was part Jewish and he wasn't, and he said what?
That's all of them, isn't it?
No, yes, but I'm saying this one guy particularly got all his lies got caught. He didn't go to the school he went to. His parents didn't live or die, and everything was a lie. And he just got sworn in. He hasn't been sworn in yet, but he went to Congress today. And then there was somebody who was protesting him, and on the news, the guy says, if he gets sworn in, the people of our district are going to make every day of his life a living hell. You won't be able to turn around without one of us giving you hell. And I'm thinking, you were just threatening this man on public TV. Is this legal? What the fuck? What do you mean his life a living hell? You're going to burn a cross on his lawn or some shit? What's going on?
I mean, and that's the thing about being a public figure, right, man? You gotta have your ducks in a row, cross your T's, dot your I's, right? Kill off the people who could say that you didn't come from where you come from.
That's been a plot of many a comic or not spy novel where the politician's kill my ex-girlfriend or something. She knows I was poor as a child.
You brought up politics. I don't know if you're aware of this. Another good honorable mention. So did you know that, I want to say I have this correct, people under the age of 12 or 13 in New York State, children will no longer be prosecuted for crimes. Let me get that. Let me make sure I got the accurate information. Can you just hold me down for a second?
Yeah, of course. But, and so RM is saying George Santos. Yeah, that right. If that's his real name. RM says he was born and raised Catholic, but he told everyone he was Jewish. Then when caught, he said he was Jew-ish. I'm sorry, guys. That's hysterical. I'm Jew-ish.
So people under New York will no longer prosecute children under the age of 12. It's been signed into law. No longer a bill. It's a law in New York. I have to read deeper into the bill, but as it reads on the surface level.
Let me ask you.
Go for it.
You know the whole who's the shittiest creepypasta ever?
Shittiest creepypasta? I don't know.
That dude in the suit, Slender Man.
Oh yeah.
You know the Slender Man murders, right?
No, I don't know.
Or it was attempted murder.
Okay.
These girls lured, they're little girls. They lured another little girl out into the woods and tried to sacrifice the girl to, Slender Man because they thought he was real. Wow. They cut their friend up, cut her up, they tried to kill her. They didn't kill her. Attempted murder.
Okay. Wow.
If an 11-year-old does that in New York State, they're not going to get prosecuted. They better get prosecuted. Hang the little brat.
If they're under the age of 12, they will no longer be prosecuted. Now, so there's two sides to this in my mind, right? I can understand where there are some certain crimes by children that are committed where they're prosecuted and sentenced as adults, and they may be innocent of these crimes. But I need some stipulations on this because if you don't put stipulations on this, you're about to release a whole bunch of little hitters.
You're about to release. I'm sorry, we're way off track, but I will say that basically that is the main problem with Law and Order, which is why I increasingly become more libertarian as I grow older. Because when you make a law, it's black and white. The problem is there's going to be a gray at some point.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be don't prosecute him. Eventually, there's going to be a 10-year-old who's going to go into a bus and shoot everybody up and cut the bus driver's head off and eat it. And they're going to be well, we can't prosecute him It's like because we had that stupid law, and it's just like it's just crazy, man. It's crazy.
Grand Theft Auto style, man. Grand Theft Auto style. But obviously, the old man Star, the hater, the original hater. Shout out to Star of the Star Report. He was talking about how this is a bad move for New York State, considering, especially New York City, considering the crime wave that some people say may or may not be happening. But
yes, I think our governor would say that it's not happening because she lives upstate, so she doesn't have to. She doesn't live in a city, so she doesn't have to worry about that. Like she's just like, what's up with you New York people and your fear of crime? I was like, my grandmother just got her throat slit for a nickel, bitch.
RM says, time to gather an army of children.
Shaolin says that dude lied about literally everything. This fool lied about the most unnecessary things. That's what I heard. It was like, I think like his resume, everything is just wrong. But what if you're a particularly shitty 11-year-old? That's what I'm saying. I feel totally comfortable with the prosecution, even the execution of an 11-year-old.
Well, we definitely got to put the criminally insane somewhere, right? We're not throwing out mental diagnosis, right? You know, like
nowadays you can't even call someone crazy, right? It's politically incorrect. As he says, the original Jews were black. The original Hebrew Israelites were mostly from Ethiopia. Yes. So I have like a great grandmother who was Jewish, and she was from Ethiopia.
I digress. I don't need any more beef with those guys. I beef with them outside of family.
Yeah, this podcast brings them up too often. One day they're going to be coming to our studio. Reese, what up? What the fuck did I just go into? We're talking about how in New York State they're not going to prosecute children anymore for anything, no matter what they do, and we're speculating how bad that situation could get.
Right, 12 and under.
RM says, "Time together, an army of children." Right, and they'll do your crimes for you. RM's going to be super villain.
Yes,
she's going to be like she's going to be the Pied Piper, and she's going to let an army of children doing crimes for her. Aren't all 11-year-olds particularly shitty? They really are, Reese. Like that's the wrong people to give exemptions to.
Yeah, some are more shitty than others, for sure.
Oh, you know what's an awkward time?
What?
Being like 14. Like let the 14-year-olds get away with shit.
Yeah, man, those kids they're struggling. Their voices are cracking. They're just all messed up.
Mississippi says diagnosis.
Yeah. So like for instance, right? Obviously you can't use the term criminally insane, but I think there's some diagnosis and people being diagnosed with violent tendencies.
That term, criminally insane.
Like
the home for the criminally insane. That's
because you want to see a real life Arkham. That's the thing.
I'm hoping one day that the Joker will rise.
Pay them in candy and toys to rob the Diamond District. Yes.
What is it in New York? It's Bellevue, right? Where they send them?
Yes.
One day, some dude from Bellevue is going to come out, a clown dude, and it's going to be crazy.
Oh my God, you people are so jaded.
Pay them in candy and toys to rob. Yes, exactly. RM.
All right.
Ladies, just all kids are crazy. Yes. I want to do one last
honorable,
and that's Jordan Peterson. And I know we talk about him all the time. You know, he's kind of red pill. He's just not. He has. I don't know what you would categorize him. I'm sorry you even brought that up. But the point is that Canada are a bunch of fascists, and here's just further proof of it.
Okay.
So the medical board has sentenced him. They've reviewed his activities online. And he has to go to re-education. And they use the word re-education. They said you have to go to re-education for how to use the internet. And if you don't come to these mandatory classes, you're going to lose your license to practice.
Wow.
In Canada. And then he asks why, and they responded, and on the list, they said they have a long list of problems that he has, mainly because he's red pilled. And then one of the things was like, you're critical of Justin Trudeau. And I'm like, he's not allowed to be critical of somebody? Like,
wait, the man wore blackface, so we can't criticize him on that.
Apparently we're not, Canadians are not allowed to talk smack about him. And, I hope Jordan Peterson just moves to America already, because Canada's like lost. They're
I think
lost.
he spent a good majority of his time in the States. It's interesting, though, that Canada came to this conclusion where he's been allowed to have lectures at Cambridge and I'm sorry, and Oxford. He's spoken in multiple times since all the controversy has broken multiple times. And I think that academia has a different view on certain things and the right to articulate them than, say, the oppressive fashion just totalitarian government that produces maple syrup. Like,
basically when we were a kid, we used to read comics, and particularly it's Marvel comics that I thought was the most like fantastical. Why? Because they had Department H, and Department H existed in Canada, and they made Weapon X, and I was like, Canadians ain't doing that shit. But now that I'm older, I really do think they are.
Oh yeah, that'd be the first ones to lace some indestructible metal to your bones and be like, "This is what it's all about. We're trying to bring about world peace."
And he's gonna kill you. Wolverine's gonna kill you for using Twitter wrong.
Yeah, you got to learn how to use the internet, old man. Make sure you report to processing early. I wish you could clip in that scene from Equilibrium where she's like, "So you mean execution?" He's like, "No, I mean processing."
Process them. But yeah, shout out to Jordan Peterson, and prayers and energy to you, man. I hope you survive that, or I hope you give them the finger and say, "F this, I'm moving into the States."
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm impervious to your crap because I'm rich. Boom.
Good stuff. Is this deal still on the table with the Daily Wire?
All his archives have been moved there and all that stuff. Yeah, he's with them. Alpha Flights, yes, Alpha Flight.
Yes.
The idea that the Canada, the public face of Canada, it's unbelievable that they would have secret weapons and superhuman projects and assassins.
Yeah, but we all know that the Antichrist sits at the head of the table in Canada. He's like
Justin Trudeau, exactly. And the Canadians are like looking and finding ways. They're like, "We're going to revoke your license, Mantis, for being critical of our Antichrist Lord." Well, too bad, suckers. I don't have a license to do shit.
Yeah, Mantis is like, "I was never accredited when I was giving out all that clinical advice.
I was never accredited for anything, motherfucker." So, when I take a blood test, it comes back fail. So they have nothing on me.
Good point.
Bex says it's the Canadian accent for me. Oh, she loves it.
Thank you, Bex. It's all about that.
What do you all think about those rumors about adamantium in the MCU?
Are you up to speed on this? That the adamantium, there's two rumors floating around that it's either going to come from the giant celestial that's poking out of the North Pole, or it's going to be an augmented version of vibranium. That's what Thunderbolts is going to be about. So I'm okay with.
I hate it all.
I'm okay with the vibranium. Them mixing vibranium and making a stronger metal, because I think that's not how adamantium came about in the comics. They never really they explain it, but they've retconned it a few different times.
Yeah, there's been multiple origins. There was actually an origin that did claim it was an alloy of vibranium, and I think since then they've changed so many times I can't even keep track. But one thing that I don't want Thunderbolts to be about, I do not want to watch a movie where people are fighting over a metal alloy. It just seems kind of dumb. Like, we've already seen it.
Right.
Black Panther movies are about it. I don't need to keep seeing that.
No, I definitely don't want it. Again, I'm sticking. To answer your question, Shaolin, I think that the discovery of adamantium should line up with the only good part of Origins. I just think that it should be some otherworldly metal that they kind of tapped into and figured out how to reproduce. And then they can really stray away from. They can keep away from all the other stuff like true adamantium, secondary adamantium. There's different.
They got to streamline it. They got whatever they do. They got to streamline it. But I will say this: another thing that they have to do for me. They have to do for me, man. Mutants can't be made now. The stories of like Magneto and Professor X and particularly Wolverine have to have started in the past.
Right.
And so for Wolverine, they had to have already had adamantium at some point in Earth's history. It can't be a new shit. Like, I do not want to see teenage Wolverine in this. You know what I'm saying? Like this, that would be crazy.
Yeah, I'm not with it at all. I'm not with that at all.
I want him to be the eternal warrior that he's always been. That he's just like, I've lived through it all and I've seen it all, bitches, and that's why I'm tougher than you.
And I'm from Canada, possibly.
A boot. Now pass the maple syrup, you knucklehead.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he puts on a lumberjack flannel.
Yeah, and he loves the lumberjacks tucked in. By the way, he always wears the shirt tucked
like an old man.
Interestingly enough, man, I wouldn't mind if Wolverine's appearance in the MCU if it resembled Winter Soldier. You know, I wouldn't mind I want to see him be imposing before he's a hero, right? I need him to actually be a threat, right, in some way, shape, or form.
That's why I like, although obviously comic books from the 70s were like nothing in those comic books were threatening. Right. But I do like the newer, like particularly in animation, when they re-show how Wolverine came and fought the Hulk.
Right. Yes.
And I love it that the Hulk is like fighting Wendigo, and he's just like the comic. And then this dude just comes out of the woods, and he's like, and he's just like trying to kill him. And you're like, who is this? That's how I want him to appear.
Yeah, with the little pointy tiara. I'm down with it. I'm with it.
You tiaras. Shaolin says, I heard New World will be adamantium being found in the dead Celestial, which is now an island, and all the nations are fighting because it's unclaimed. Ross will be the villain. You know what that makes me think of, actually?
What?
You know what else is kind of crazy? Is that now that you say island, I'm wondering if they're going to try to make Tiamat, either Genosha or that weird mutant, that living island that
Cronoa.
Cronoa, yes.
Krakoa,
and that now that it's an island, the mutants go there.
Yeah.
That's possible. I mean, I have no idea what they're thinking.
Jumping too far ahead. I think with Wolverine for sure, they gave us an in with Madripoor, so you can, it won't take too much. They gave us the bar that he owned in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right. So I think that would be a good way to roll it in. But however they introduce it, I think a great way to end Thunderbolts, because I don't think that's a movie you need a sequel to. Why not go full Suicide Squad? Why not have them encounter Wolverine and he kills every last one of them except for Bucky? I know they want to keep Bucky around, but why not just have him kill the entire team?
Well, obviously they're going to kill keep the new Black Widow around. That's what I hired for.
Yeah. She's actually wildly popular. People love her. And,
Florence Pugh, I love her. I don't love her in that role, but I love her in general. Like, for instance, I saw that controversial movie, Don't Worry, Darlings.
Yeah.
And she kept it alive for me. I was like, I'll watch her do anything. I'll watch her clean the window.
Is that the one with Harry Styles and Chris Pine and Harry Styles? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm allergic to those type of films. Unfortunately, it just seems like a
Sheldon says, Celestials and mutants are linked to mutants are deviants, right? Yes, they have the deviant cell or whatever.
Yeah, the gene. Interestingly enough, this is an honorable mention I thought you can get behind. The young lady that directed the Eternals will not be returning for Eternals 2.
I do not believe there will be an Eternals 2. I know people said they announced it. I don't think they're going to go through with it.
I haven't heard anything official from the MCU other than the director herself saying she won't be returning.
But I love that. I love when directors kind of make it look like it's their choice.
Right.
And so, remember when Bob Iger came back, he's trying to rein in the overspending, not just Marvel, but Star Wars and all of Disney has been doing. Right. Which means they can't have any more flops like Eternals. That was a horrible loss of money for them.
Yeah, especially in the light of Avatar 2 making $1.6 billion.
I do not understand. You know what's absolutely insane? Most movies, vast majority of movies, they have a steady decline of how much they make each week.
Yeah.
This weekend, it went up.
6%.
It's plus 6% instead of down something. It's usually it averages down around 50 each weekend. You can expect around 50% drop. Any more than it's really bad, any less is good. Right. Yet it gained 6%. And I'm just not an Avatar, man. I just don't see why people see in these blue things.
Well, what's his name? The owner and proprietor of Geeks and Gamers. He actually went to go see it and he enjoyed it. In spite of all this controversy it's coming under from people of native descent, whether they be Native American or
that whole crew is into that.
Yeah, well, because
like
it's
him and Ryan Kinnell and all these people that like people who hang out with him, and they're trying to be like, yeah, you know what's up? They're always like, Marvel sucks. Well, you know what's cool? Avatar. I wish I was a blue furry thing, man. I wish I was Ferngully in space.
That film is as woke as they come. Like 100%.
So woke, it's so disgusting. They lie about people's box office all the time. Why can't they do it for Avatar? Why are they shilling for Avatar?
Yeah. I particularly, there's one newer, I don't know if he's newer, but this is a gentleman that's on the Geeks and Gamers platform who does their movie metrics, basically their version of Movie Map. But this guy is really comprehensive. And even he said Wakanda Forever isn't a flop. Like that was a narrative that was floating totally around in there. Yeah. And like, people were like, it flopped, it lost 150 million. And I listened to Campion's breakdown. He was like, no, it most certainly didn't flop. It made a profit.
It's just it's crazy. Lainey says, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Okay. I know Lainey likes her blue things.
Oh, what?
That wasn't a particular jab. It just seems she just seems like she'd be into blue little creatures.
Well, I mean, they're
tall creatures. They're tall.
They're in peak physical shape, man. They show up to the party.
I think they're gross. I don't want to look at them.
You would have sex with one of those things for sure. The female ones for sure.
You know what it is? I noticed that they don't have many curves.
They don't.
Yeah. So. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry you had to sit through that. I didn't even know there was a second one, let alone it being out. Yeah, it's out. It's been out for 3 weekends now, and it's made 1.4, I think, billion.
1.6.
And it's just yeah.
It's killing it. It's killing you to say it, but I'm not ashamed to say it. It's.
I'll report what if it's the truth. I will report it. It's not killing me to say it. I do want it to burn in the flames of hell, just like a certain YouTuber X. But you know,
in the flames of Tartarus.
It's 1.4. It's 1.4, Bill.
1.4. Are you sure about that? Let me
just looked it up.
Where'd you look at? Some wacky Canadian site like whoagreeswithme.com.
Yo, RM says Mantis would be tossed around for some snoo.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think it's time to get to our main topics because I think we're taking around right now. But yo, why don't you tell us the story of the UFC this weekend? Were you watching?
So, not UFC. So, president of the UFC, the promoter of UFC, Dana White, the guy who with the Fertitta brothers changed what was essentially just a no holds bar, sanctioned. Who's the best martial artist? What's the best type of martial arts? Obviously, we can all agree he's turned that company into something that now ESPN is in bed with. Their fights pretty much every weekend, and in pay-per-views, they've been doing really well as a company, even since they sold and went public. He and his wife were in Mexico for New Year's, and they got blitzed. Now, don't shoot the messenger. Deal with what's on the internet, and I'm only going to report to you.
When I see the video, I assume they were at a fight. I thought they were at a UFC fight.
They were just at a New Year's party, and they were.
Because it looks like they're in a box, right?
Yeah. And they were in the private booth. Now I believe his wife's name is Anne, or Dana, or no, her name is Anne White or something like that. I don't know, but they've been married for quite some time. They've been together since they were like in the 8th grade or something like that. And they're out drinking, enjoying their New Year's. Someone's recording them in their private booth, and they had some type of dispute publicly. And then here's the series of orders as they happen in the video. She smacks him with like a full-on smack, and then he smacks her back.
I saw that part of the video.
And I'm not laughing because like violence is not funny, right? I only appreciate sanctioned violence like boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, and
right.
But I was amazed when I went to go look at the TMZ video on IG, and then I checked the No Jumper, the Shade Room. I'm scrolling through the comments because Dana White came out and apologized immediately. He was like, "This is my wife." He's like, "There's no excuse. I've always been publicly against violence against females. There's no reason for a man to hit a woman." Are the things he said in the past. And he's like, he just owned up to it. He just owned up to it. The wife came out and released a statement. She was like, this is a situation that got blown, just went crazy. We've been drinking way too much. And right now we're just focusing on our children. Dana and I are fine. This is an isolated incident. But I was going through the comments, man, and I was expecting to see a bunch of posts about solidarity and violence towards women, because this is what you would expect. And I wouldn't be mad at seeing that. But bro, the majority of the posts were from women, like the comments, and they're like, well, why'd she put her hands on him?
Yes, I see that a lot too. People were like, they're like, you want to act like a bitch? Like he treated you like one, and I'm like, what the fuck? I have seen, like, for instance, Alex Stein 99.
Yes.
Mr. Harass, Mr. Harass. He's a funny dude. But even he tweeted on it, and he was like, no man should ever put his hands on a woman, even if she puts her hands on him first. And I was like, this dude is the voice of reason. Like, I don't know. It was kind of weird.
If a woman pulls a knife out on me and is threatening me physically with death,
yeah,
I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
Yeah, if she's trying to kill me, yeah. Shaolin says I have a gift card, so I'm gonna go bite the bullet and see Avatar tomorrow. Laney says I told Mantis I'm dragging him to see it. Shaolin says you two should definitely go, and then Laney says he has no time for me. Shaolin. What to say? Armin says maybe they like to get drunk and slap each other around. Why are we judging them?
Okay. We're not judging them, but it's out there on the internet, and the internet is judging them. So in the past with the UFC, Dana White has been very clear. Now, as I was looking through it, I was trying to find fighters who got released from the UFC for domestic violence cases. Now, in Bellator, the guy Machine, who beat up that adult film actress, or as they are called now, sexual athletes. I want to make sure I'm showing the politically correct.
Did you just make that up, or are people really calling that?
No, it's a real thing. That's what. That's what. That's a real thing. Why do you have such a problem with it? They're athletes. They're sexual athletes.
Okay.
The Machine got prosecuted for beating up his girlfriend, and he beat her bad and beat her boyfriend, her new boyfriend. And
that was like what Christy Mack or whatever.
Is that her name?
Yeah. No. I mean,
I'm not up on the porn star's name, so thank you for educating me.
He's pretending not to know.
Mantis knows all the popular sexual athletes.
It's funny. Me and RM were actually talking about. It's funny that RM is saying like we shouldn't judge them. Maybe like to get drunk and beat each other up. That's what their kink is. Yeah, and it's just like if you've ever seen The Fabelmans, that movie that's about Steven Spielberg's life.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's about it ends up being about the private lives of his mother and father. That's all I'm saying.
Something I'm sure they're happy is now out in the universe.
But I guess it's none of our business. Reese says publicly against violence, never said he wasn't for private domestic violence.
So go ahead. It's funny.
He says I believe that you should never hit a woman, but if she is wailing on you and trying to kill you, then defend yourself.
Amen. Beck says if that's the case, we'd all be sexual athletes. Yeah, but some people would be in the minor leagues. Some people would be in the WNBA. I mean, wait, my bad.
I think most people think, because there are two things that men always think they're better than they are. Most men think they're better fighters than they are.
True.
And then most men think they're better at sex than they actually are.
Absolutely true. Absolutely. And
they don't realize you need to train at both to be good.
Yes.
And so there's a bunch of guys who are like, I don't train at martial arts, but I get angry, and when I'm angry, I can move mountains. I'm like, sure you can.
No, you can't. You will fight your physical capabilities at the moment.
They're gonna be like, and you're gonna be like pushing them, and they can't reach you because they don't know how to throw one down the pipe. It's just pathetic.
But it's funny because you and I have a mutual friend from back in the day, and she was always hard on the ladies. I'm not going to shout out her name, but I remember she would watch adult content, and she would just say, "Man, most women are lazy when it comes to blowjobs." And I was like, "Wow, Oh, it's an honest statement.
He said that's an honest statement. She was even criticizing the professional athlete.
I think it's a joint venture, man. Joint venture. But so Star was reporting on this, and obviously Star is going to have a different take. We'll get into some of the MMA community's take on it as well. But Star says, what if Dana White, and this is something you need to consider, right? I don't know if Izzy is still in here now. They are both from Massachusetts. Dana White actually left Boston because he had a run-in with the notorious gangster Whitey out there. I don't know if you're up on who Whitey is. Johnny Depp was in a movie portraying this guy. This guy was
Whitey Bulger, really?
Yeah. He was after Dana White. He wanted to kill Dana White, so that's when Dana's to Nevada. Yeah, he's talked about it countless times. But if you've never dated a woman from Massachusetts, I'm not saying all women, but some women,
they're animals.
Some
both
women
in the sack and outside of it.
They pop off. They do pop off. You know, they got those accents and they're just like, what's this all about? You know, type of crazy shit. But the craziest part is so Star's theory is that Dana White is actually an abused man, and this was the final straw, that his wife beats on him constantly.
Where is he getting this from? This sounds total nonsense.
This is
the man who runs UFC is getting beaten by his wife.
You know what? I've seen it. I've seen some of the toughest guys who won't take shit from anyone, but they'll let their girlfriend smack them around. So,
as you know, I'm Captain Save a Bitch, right? But I don't have I don't have a low tolerance. I have a high tolerance for the beatings. I understand that sometimes you're going to piss women off and they're going to want to punch at you. And so I'm like, yeah, punch me, whatever. You can't do shit.
I got a zero tolerance, put your hands on me policy from anyone. No one grips me up. No one suns me. You don't put your finger in my face, any of that stuff. Now, my response is different from man to woman. I will always say to a woman, don't do that. But I'm not going to let him do it. That doesn't mean I'm going to haul off and like throw her in the arm bar, snap her arm off and beat her with it. I'm just going to be like, don't cross the line. And I usually remove myself from the situation. I'm notorious for like, I'm walking out this door before I do any jail time. Like that's usually my response. But yeah, Dana White,
that's wise. And I think to all of you, I really think that's the best way for no matter who you are, the man or the woman. Right. Walk away before you get in trouble or something goes crazy.
Yeah, keep your hands to yourself, ladies. Ladies, keep your hands to yourself. Unless the man is abusing yourself, then just haul off, put the rings on, scratch them up, cut them up, dice them up. But you shouldn't be smacking people because you're out in public and you're like, well, this is the way I get down. And shame on you men that date women like this too. You know that she's just a rah-rah chick.
That's the thing. I date women. I do not exclusively, but there are women that like. I've dated a few girls who like when they get crazy. I'll let them throw a punch or throw an attack. It never hurts me. I've never been hurt or injured or scarred from it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
go ahead.
No offense, ladies. It's women lashing out. That's what they do.
My mama always told me, dear mama, hold up. She said, son, never, ever be a villain and beat a woman. But if she steps up to the plate and wants to fight you like a man, I want you to defend yourself like a man. And I've always held that to heart. My mother told me this, and she's not a misandrist. She is an old school woman that just thinks that you defend yourself at all costs, but to varying different levels. But if you so dare, go watch the video of Dana White and his wife out in public, because it was interesting to see it happen because they were clearly blasted.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the clip, the real short clip. Because we're in dangerous territory. Obviously, we have to be careful what we say or what we feel like, and this is just the disclaimer that as fanboy modeling school guys, we're loose ass motherfuckers. So we're gonna say something that will offend you, especially about the men and women battle.
No, I think everyone should keep your hands to yourself, man. Don't step into that realm because it doesn't make sense. Like, so publicly, what would be the point of you having an argument with your husband, right, and smacking him, and vice versa? Like, if you're the type of guy like Bill Burr famously said, "No tuna casserole tonight," and you just flip out and start putting hands on people, keep your hands to yourself. Or You might catch Dana White on a night where the tequila was flowing, and he's like, you know what? I am the president of the UFC. And I snuck
Star may have the thing that he's saying he's abused and this was the final straw, but no, actually Dana White looks like he knew how to smack a hoe.
Bro, he used to be a boxer. It doesn't take much to smack anyone.
He was already instinctive. He didn't instinctively punch. He instinctively slapped. He slaps hoes. He slaps fucking hoes, man.
So let me ask you a question. And this is not to put you on the spot. So you're Dana White in that situation. You just let her smack you, right? I probably would let her smack me too, but would you just let her smack you?
So I don't know how drunk he was, but yes, if I had my cooler head residing, I'd be like, whatever.
Right.
And then I'd take away her credit card tomorrow.
Oh man, he shoots the power double leg takedown on her. He's like, I'm not gonna hit you, but he suplexes her.
Oh yeah, he should pin her, submit her.
Well, hey, both get you the same amount of time if she prosecutes.
I know.
Go ahead.
Rex says definitely sounds like a king to me. RN says some men tolerate women pushing or slapping because women are weak as fuck, but it seems like a bad idea on both sides to tolerate. Here's what I'm saying.
Amen.
Here's the thing. They will throw the book at you quicker than her. They will arrest you, even if she does all the damage to you. If you come home, if they come to your house most of the time, cops are called on a domestic, and you have cuts and bruises all over you.
Those could be defensive cuts and bruises.
You're still more likely to be arrested just for being a man.
Yeah.
Which is why it's actually smart not to slap a hoe. Yeah.
Look at Shaolin. I had the same experience as a bouncer.
During a couple years of bouncing, women were always the worst. It's like trying to separate two honey badgers. I had to often get real intimidating to get them to stop.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this. Here's the whole thing. I've never seen a creature other than a short guy. It's like, here's what it is. The creature who has the greatest beer muscles is a short guy. Second is a woman. So what I'm saying is women all the time think they can, I'm generalizing, sorry, girls. They can beat the crap out of anybody.
Ladies, you sexist bastards. You say
ladies. They can beat the crap out of anyone if they've had a few drinks. And they don't realize how wrong that is. And 90% of the time, if they think they can take a man, if they even feel they've done something to a man, like slapped him and got away with it, the only way that worked out is that because of social reasons, society, the man chose not to retaliate.
Yeah,
because the truth is if the man retaliated, probably 90% of the time, he's knocking her out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Laney says, man, if I ever smack my man, I would expect to get slapped back. Pow! I was always taught, don't put your hands on anyone if you're not expecting retaliation. Whew, Laney, that gets deep.
I started Laney's comment. This is funny how people aren't completely on Anna's side. I find it fascinating.
Yeah, very interesting.
RM says, I'm saying walk away from a relationship with a woman who hits, even if she hits like a toddler, because she could be psycho and come up with a knife next time.
Boom. So RM touched on something that a lot of people think only has to do with abusive men, but also has to do with women who are physically and emotionally abusive. Both sides, both parties. There's a matter of escalation, right? So if she feels like she can get away with it, then she'll continue to do it. And just like any abusive person, the boundaries start to get pushed further and further. And then you might end up like that dude who got stabbed to death by his social influencer girlfriend. Right. and that all started with her smacking him around in the elevator. Same thing for you ladies, man. If he grabs you by the arms for any reason, I want you to know that it will always go further. It will always go further. Get away from the touchy-feely people.
If I could just, be real for a second, though, guys.
Wait, so you've been being fake this whole time?
I have.
Okay.
Pacifists.
Oh boy.
Are not good in bed. That goes for vegans and soy boys as well.
Vegan females are most. I've been with some honorary hippie chicks before.
Oh well, if they're hippie, they're instinctually animalistic.
Not you, hippie chicks. We got to clear that up right now. Not hippie in the chat. We're talking about hippies in general.
Yes, right. Yeah. Hippies are instinctively animalistic, but what I'm saying is they're more feral. But what I'm saying is that if women who when they're emotional are like "fuck you, Mantis" and like attacking you, are more likely to be freak and crazy in bed.
Right.
And then the girls who don't hit are like,
This is more of a conversation for Pillow Talk. You should go on Pillow Talk with Bex and get into this shit. You sound like you're into some domination type shit.
I'm just telling how it is, man. I'm trying to keep it real, like I said. Lady says, I have a friend who got into a fist fight with his wife. She beat the shit out of him. He was absolutely the one who got in trouble. Yeah. You will absolutely, like, I have friends and, like, through all these experiences, the cops will be like, we're arresting you. And it's just like, officer, I have a cut on my fucking eye. I've got all these things. They're like, sorry. Sucks to be you, bro.
So read the rest of the comments, and then I want to get into the other side of this conversation, because we know that we do live in a time where a bad decision, right? Bad move can cost you everything. So it's interesting to see how the parent company, which owns UFC, which is technically partially Disney, and I forget.
Do they own UFC?
Well, they're in bed with Disney because Disney owns ESPN. So it's gonna.
That's right, and I see it on Hulu all the time.
Yeah. So
like,
it's gonna be
the the qualifiers or the fights leading up to the main fight will be on Hulu sometimes.
Well, on ESPN Plus, Hulu will host. What is it? I forget the fighting league, but yes, Disney owns ESPN, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Rogue Radio says, ladies, bring a taser with you at all times when you're out. Hell yeah! If he cut you in front of the line at the pizza shop, zap it.
Yes, if God blesses me with daughters, yes, I will teach them how to use a blade, right, and how to use a taser. And I am pro what Rogue Radio said. And I think that too many people like hide behind the supposed civilization, but you never know when you are going to encounter someone who isn't civilized.
I was showing Bex a video the other night of a young Muay Thai practitioner. She's young, very young, and her dad's holding mitts for her. And then you can tell that like he's holding mitts appropriately for the way you hold it for someone her size. But the amount of power she was generating in her punches and her knees, right, was absolutely insane. And if I had a daughter, I would train her on how to use, weapons, guns, mace. But ultimately, I would want her to know how to throw hands too, because when it boils down to it, that's your last line of defense, right?
I will
out your hand. I don't want you squaring up with a man, right?
Yes, that's what I'd be worried about. But yes, you should teach them a fight. But I would rather her use the blade or the taser first.
Yeah, stick it in his dick.
And twist, bitch. Yes. I'm sorry, you're my daughter, so not bitch. Wow, feeling attacked much, Miss Hippie. But did Miss Hippie feel attacked?
No.
Oh, okay. No, Miss Hippie, we love you. No way. Where is this conversation going, says Bex? Are you kidding me? We're having an amazing conversation.
It's going to the appropriate places.
Yeah, men should too if they don't know self-defense. I would teach all my kids martial arts, period. Mantis, you've had such fucked up relationships.
Yeah, get bear pepper spray, ladies. Actually, if you really want to do some damage, get the shit they spray on the bears. That shit will fucking...
Here's the thing. You realize how many of times those things malfunction and you accidentally get a little on yourself?
All the time.
Yeah, all the time. I'd rather like a woman in my life or, daughter, wife, girlfriend to have a taser.
OC spray is better. That shit is quick and effective.
Oh, I don't know it. I don't know OC spray.
Lainey says, haha, don't move to Jersey. All that stuff is illegal here. Fucking Jersey. Yeah, all right. They got good wedges out there, though. I enjoy a good wedge from Jersey.
If you've never used one, I would practice pressing the button and get used to the noise. The key is to not be afraid of using it. Absolutely.
That's right.
And it's the old idiom. When you see this in movies, this cliche all the time. People are like, don't pull out a gun on someone unless you're willing to use it. It's the same thing. Don't pull out a taser if you're not going to use it.
Yeah.
And
don't be pump faking. You whip it out, you got to use it.
Don't think about it too much. Don't do whatever. Just fucking do it and get the fuck out of there.
All right, so let's get into the other side of this. So there was obviously the Twitter reaction from the MMA community. It's mixed in regards to the fighters. A lot of fighters who've had dealings with Dana White obviously are relishing in the fact that he's caught up in controversy. The late
because
great
he's a shit talker and they want him to finally pay.
Yeah, and then also, yeah, exactly. Anthony Rumble Johnson, obviously, who just passed away last year, had a domestic charge too levied against him, and he was never removed from the UFC roster. John Jones, obviously, famously having a domestic charge after being inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame for his fight.
Does he only have one?
Yeah, he only has one.
I thought he got into it with his wife all fucking time.
No. What happened was John Jones, everyone knows in New Mexico, from the hours of 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. are John's time. And there was a pregnant woman who dared to be out on the streets of New Mexico driving around at 1 a.m. and John's just out with Viagra, smoking weed, doing cocaine. He's not responsible for running into her, smashing her car, breaking her arm, running back to his car after he fled the vehicle, not to come check on the woman, but to grab his weed and Viagra and then scurry off into the hills. That's the true story. Look it up.
I believe it. Because I feel like I've seen him so many times in the news in terms of all
types of shit. All types.
I assume he had more than one against him.
Before he won the world title the first time, he actually subdued a mugger in Riverside Park. And that's at first that's when we all thought he was a Boy Scout. Little did we know he's a deep hatred for pregnant women. He's like, these are my streets and you stay off of them. But they've all these fighters have been reacting, and someone asked the most poignant question, which was the one I levied before. How is ESPN and the parent company, the UFC, going to respond? Now, Dana White, as you know, sold his shares in the UFC. He had a smaller share, I think like 5% share, and the Fertitta brothers, they owned the bulk, and they sold all their shares when they.
I didn't know he sold his share. I didn't know he was.
Now he has a contract with the parent company, and they pay him a copious millions of dollars to be the primary promoter and president to run.
Okay, so I didn't know he sold, but he's still the promoter.
Yeah, and so they extended his contract, and I'm sure that his contract reads much like Kanye's, where if they oust him, they have to settle him, just like they're going to do to the late great Patty Jenkins. So if they remove him, they're still going to have to pay out on that. But what say you? Should Dana White be removed from the seat, and could the UFC survive it?
So not only am I against counterculture because I think it's not productive, and it's not conducive to a human society. Cancel culture seems more of something that robots should do. Maybe the Transformers should have cancel culture. But ultimately, I would say even this, and this isn't just cancel. It's not like he said something bad. He did something he did something bad. However, I still don't think you should destroy someone's livelihood. Someone should not lose the ability to earn money, to earn salary, because they got into some sort of issue with their wife. And it's not just about that. It's about any issue. If someone were to get into an issue with any person, I just don't think I'm sick of this shit. Back in the day before social media, you could be a drunken idiot and get arrested every weekend and still be an executive. And I'm not saying that's let's protect these executives. I'm saying that's human nature. People fuck up. Now that there's a camera on us, maybe we should be a little more merciful and just get off their dick. Whether he's going to go to hell or not, or pay for slapping his wife once or maybe more, is not up to us. So I don't think he should lose his job for this. It's crazy.
Unless there is a morality clause in his contract that says, hey, we don't want any public controversies coming our way.
I agree. However, what's the likelihood? I mean, I would be surprised if the UFC had a morality gun.
You'd be really surprised about how conservative business people can be when it comes to publicly traded stocks, right? Now, it's one thing if your fighters are a bunch of savages, and generally they're not.
It's expected, and actually people kind of encourage it. They want them to be savages.
Yeah, and MMA has come a long way from where it was before, where you were allowed to punch some guy in the crotch, right? This is a legitimate sport now. But when it's the CEO, the face, the public face that you're relying on keeping the stocks up, building good cards and promotions, for God's sake, this guy is the one who broke ground in China to open up the UFC training center there. I don't know if you know this, but it's notoriously hard for American companies to open up anything in China, and Dana White got it done. Like he got the deal done. No one else. So I don't think they're going to cancel him. I don't think they're going to kick him out. It doesn't look like he's going to be canceled.
Although Chinese UFC fighters or MMA fighters receive endless fucking discrimination. Like literally, like all sorts of shit. Like I've heard them like have fights. They're gonna have fights, and like the local cops will bust up the fights.
What, in China?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, it's moving a lot better because they've had a lot of champions, and for a while, like take Wei Zhang Li, I believe her name is. You know, she was getting booed her first, not her first,
Kung Fu princess.
Yeah, getting booed. That shit doesn't work in MMA.
But she started in Kung Fu, so she's a Kung Fu princess.
She did start in Kung Fu, but thank God she didn't break out any Mantis, and someone didn't just lift her up and dump her on her head. Not to say that it's not effective in a street fight, you know. Get him with the eye poke. But her last fight against Carla Esparza, I believe, which was in New York. Who do you think the crowd was rooting for in that fight?
Not her.
They were rooting for Wei Li. They were
screaming
her name in America. She's wildly popular.
She has a great social media her Instagram is great. She's training and like
she's an athlete. She's a warrior, man. Yeah. I'm just saying that in regards to business, I don't think they're going to remove Dana White. He got out ahead of this thing really quickly. He did an exclusive interview on TMZ, the same people who broke the story.
He was still drunk.
He's like, I'll do it again.
He's like, yeah, I slapped that hoe, but the bitch had it coming.
No, you know, it's funny. The one thing that they both said, the wife in the statement, in her statement, and Dana's, is like they're more concerned about how this is going to impact their children. So they have a son that's playing football, I believe, at San Diego College, and another one of their sons are actually boxing, and then they have a smaller daughter. So that was their public responses. We're more worried about how this is going to impact our children. You know, give us privacy. Dana and I are okay.
Like everyone, privacy. Yeah, like get off everyone's dick, man.
Yeah. I think RM has a good response down there.
Yeah, and Lainey says, "I've been tased. Not great. I highly don't recommend it." Lainey, would you like to elaborate if you're able to? Like, in what circumstance were you tased?
Not something you do on the weekends. RM says, I mean, if he had beaten the crap out of her. Key point, and gotten arrested, that is different from self-defense. They are both apologizing for it. Yeah. Private situation that happened in Mexico between two rich people, right?
Now just like RM has been saying, just like Dana White and his wife, or just like Steven Spielberg's parents, it's none of our business how they conduct their marriage. Let them do their thing. And I'm just sick of everyone getting canceled. People are like, should we destroy someone's livelihood because they like a kink or something weird? I'm just like, leave everyone alone. Let people just do their thing.
Now, ironically, Dana White did just start his own slap league. Are you up on the smack leagues where people slap?
I fucking hate those things, and I forget what it was. No, it wasn't MMA. It was that fucking idiot Logan Paul had a boxing match, and one of the fights leading up to his boxing match, he's like, we're gonna have the slap champions.
Yeah.
And he showed two fight, and I was like, what is this shit?
Bro, I can't watch that. Of all the things I can watch, the brutality I can sit through, watching my fools smack the shit out of each other, it's hard for me. But that's it for Dana. You know, some MMA fighters came out and support. Some MMA fighters came out and detest. I don't think he's going to get canceled over this. And this will probably be last week's news, unless ESPN takes a very hard stance in the parent company.
You know why? It's because it's Dana White. If it was Chris Evans, they wouldn't leave this alone.
Yeah.
No. Even though we all know Chris Evans is playing for the other team secretly.
Allegedly.
He said allegedly. I like to think it's true because it's more fun.
Why is that more fun?
Oh, because it's like Captain America is gay. This is scandalous. That's probably why he won't. That's probably why he has beards and stuff. Why he won't let on. Because he's like, I can't let the kids know that Captain America's gay. I love all this TMZ shit.
You sound like YouTuber X trying to ship him and Bucky. Like she was like frothing at the mouth. Why won't they do it? Why won't they do it?
She's a depraved, sick individual. I'm just a concerned citizen.
Concerned citizen. All right, moving on. What do you want to get into? Jeremy Renner?
Oh, well, quick. Lainey says, laugh my ass off. Actually, it was something we did on a weekend. My girlfriend got a taser for Christmas one year, and while I volunteered as tribute. Oh, that sounds so bad. Do you, Steve, do you know Hard to Hurt?
Yes.
The channel. He tests weapons all the time.
Yeah.
And he sometimes has tasing things where he has people come up and be like, who's willing to get tased or pepper sprayed to see how much it hurts?
No.
And I love seeing the big guys, they get pepper sprayed and they're like, oh, they're crying like bitches. And I'm like, yeah. Laney, I think you're very brave. I think that's awesome that you did that. Right?
Oh, RM exposing you in the chat. Mantis wants Chris Evans to be gay because he dated his boo, Selena Gomez.
Fair. I wanted it to be fake. Yes, I don't think. I just feel as a man, I can't touch Selena again if I know Captain America's been in there.
Why, you won't live up to it, or it's, what's going on?
Because he can fucking live up to it. What kind of question is that? It's just his stink. His stink of like white America and all that shit. Jeez, man, can we move on?
I've been trying to move on. You won't let it go. He has to be by then. I've seen videos of that dude macking on random girls. Yeah.
Wait, who? Evans?
Yeah.
He wants that video to spread, man. I'm telling you, he's got some midget Frenchman back home who everyone thinks is his butler who's really banging. It's obvious. How do you not see this? He's a type. Chris Evans is a type.
Okay. What other small people has he been attracted to?
What I'm saying is, I promise you, this scandal's gonna break.
Because you're gonna be.
I'm gonna laugh at you when it becomes true, because I can tell this guy.
It doesn't matter to me at all. I just like.
I look at Chris Evans and I'm like, you're not only gay, you like diminutive gay guys.
Oh my goodness. Moving right along to another Avenger.
I got money on it, bro. I got money on
it. Obviously not a laughing matter.
Not a laughing matter.
Not a laughing matter. You want to roll this one out?
Okay, so we've got our poor guy, Jeremy Renner. Now, you guys all know that I'm a freaking hater of Hawkeye. However, I'm not a hater of this particular dude or anything that's going on. Apparently, a bunch of celebrities, it's just so weird, are ending up in critical condition recently.
Yeah.
And so our first one, Jeremy Renner, I couldn't believe it when I saw it. His snowplow on his property flipped. He went down a hill, flipped, and he had to be airlifted. He's in critical condition. They did immediate surgery.
Yeah, ran over his leg, apparently. It's insane.
And in the pictures of him, he has a bandage over one eye. Yep. I know studios are like, please don't destroy his face. Now, here, in my opinion, and I think a lot of women agree with me, he's not known for his good looks. He's not Henry Cavill or something, right? But still, what is a studio going to do if he's deformed? But I am glad he's alive, and I'm glad he's stabilized,
Yeah, and so... Not when they say snowplow, they don't mean the thing that you use to clear your driveway. This is the thing that you see that kind of looks like a trailer and has rails on it, and it goes
big ass,
huge thing, man. But when this broke, man, they said critical condition. If that was the first report I got, and then they got critical, they released critical, then stable. But man, the same thing happens to a NASCAR driver around the same time. Insane. Now, I know Mantis is going to take this to some type of Illuminati conversation, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
It gets even crazier, bro.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Let's go.
Right? And so, that's right. What was his name? Ken Block.
Yeah.
Ken Block. Snowmobile accident. Freaking crazy, right?
No, I saw someone that posted that in your Discord, and I had to go immediately Google it. I thought it was someone from your community that had gone through, and I was like, wow, that's really weird. But to see this happening, man, first, you want to wish them all the health and healing, fast recoveries. I don't know if he had any projects on the bill. Doesn't really matter, man. I just hope that he gets back to his family, both of them, back to their families in the best working condition as soon as possible, man. As soon as possible.
And then we have Damar Hamlin.
Okay, so this one I don't know about. What's going on there? Who's Damar Hamlin? Why don't I
Buffalo
recognize
Bills? And quick backstory, quick backstory. I gotta say this: he's a charitable, loving dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's charities for kids. You know, he's a football player. He does his thing. But what's really interesting is I am normally a Redskins fan, true and true.
Okay.
And of course, the Redskins are not a thing anymore. However, I haven't lived in that area. I haven't lived in Virginia for a while.
Right.
And so finally I decided at the start of the season that I was like, I need to, you know, it's like when you move and you have your old cell phone number.
Right.
And it takes a while for you to finally go, you know what? I need it
for a long time. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, some people have it for years.
Yeah.
Me and you have a mutual friend who used to live in LA. Like he's been here a decade. Easy still has an LA number.
310, yeah.
Yeah, some people will not give up on it. It's the same thing with a team. You have to move on. You have to change up. So I decided to change it up. Buffalo Bills. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to root for the Giants or the Jets because they're all bums. I'm a Buffalo Bill guy. Currently, Buffalo Bills are doing freaking amazing. It's all because of my patronage. I want to take that credit. Then suddenly this happens. This kid is in perfect health.
Right.
Gets tackled. His heart stops.
Yeah.
They have to resuscitate him. He's not breathing on his own. They had to put a tube in his mouth and get him off the field. They canceled the game.
Okay. Any pre-existing medical conditions, or was it caused from the hit?
They like no known pre-existing conditions.
Wow.
And I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Wow. And I bet a part of you was thinking in your mind when all three of these tragedies broke, right? You're like three people that you have no personal grievance with. And I could see in your mind, you're sitting in that dark with that skull mask on in the background going, God, why wasn't it James Gunn? Why wasn't it James Gunn?
Why wasn't it Grace Randolph? Why wasn't it Peter Safran? I don't know, man. Why do evil people succeed in this world? While hardworking good people like Damar Hamlin are an intensive unit, you know, like intensive care units. Fuck this shit. There was a dark energy over this year.
Yes.
Now I am very hopeful because will you do me a favor? Will you add all the numbers of the year together? 2023.
So it's 4, 7. Okay.
7.
Oh boy.
That's a godly number.
Yes, it is.
Boom, on the map. We're gonna have a good year. But what's happening to these poor people? Are they sacrifices? What is going on?
And then Barbara Walters out of there, man. Out of there at the end or the beginning of the new year.
Yeah. Like people are exiting all sorts of crazy stuff, and I'm expecting more celebrities down the week.
Now, so here's the most horrible thing that came out of the Jeremy Renner thing. Now, this could very well be isolated, and take this with a grain of salt because there'll always be someone to report on the most minute, just minority groups being overly vocal. But Jeremy Renner had some haters coming out on Twitter celebrating that he had gone through this traumatic and horrendous accident, man.
What has he done wrong to people?
So there was the allegation that was levied against him because of his divorce, that there was maybe a history of domestic violence. Nothing that was substantiated. It actually died quietly and just kind of went away. But there was this huge push to have him.
Oh, that's right. With his ex, there was like a claim that something happened. And so here's how I know we live in satanic times.
Amen.
Apologies to everyone who isn't into this kind of thing, but remember, we're Christians here, and we don't try to make it dominate Fanboy Modeling School. That's not what this podcast is about. However, we do talk about it and our beliefs.
And we're not the best Christians. We're not the best. Don't look to us for your moralistic compass.
I was just talking about beating your wife and banging chicks. So, I'm not the person to look at. but ultimately, we live in an age where basically you could be the most righteous person ever. There's going to be some contingent of people on the internet who are happy when you're in an accident, happy when you're in your last legs. They have no mercy for you, but no one has mercy for anybody. It's only people in your tribe. And nowadays, like a snake eating its own tail, people in your own tribe will turn on you.
Yeah. Opportunistic people, man. They come out of left field. They're the ones that sell your information to TMZ. They're the ones that go to the shade room and let them know what's going on. Yeah, it's horrible. But for people to come out and say that type of stuff after this happened, man, and again, if he was a monster, then yeah, have at it. But it's not been substantiated. We don't even know if it's true. No charges have been pressed.
It's weak sauce and it's sauce, my man.
It's weak sauce indeed. I want to jump off that depressing shit, but send all three of those people. If you pray, you're a praying person, pray for their speedy recoveries. If you're an energy crystal person, do whatever that is, or whatever your belief structure requires. In these
Please
moments.
just don't summon Satan.
Most certainly, he's not going to improve anything. At some point, we should probably talk about in another show. I think this is low hanging fruit, but the Mephisto news coming out. Some leaks on what Mephisto is going to look like. I didn't want to touch this one with a 20-foot pole, but
because there's so many fake Mephisto leaks over the years. Like what? Like, do we really want to buy this one? I do kind of buy this one, but
yeah.
Mephisto's just like it's a sullied topic.
Very much so.
Beck says Mantis being a Redskins fan has just made me love him even more. That's what's
up. They're not called the Redskins anymore. I haven't followed football in years.
They're the Commanders.
Oh, the Commanders.
That's another reason why I had to be the thing. I just didn't feel like my team anymore,
Yeah. Thank God there's no NFL team called the Blackies.
But I will tell you this: I'm not sure if I can use this word on our podcast, but back in the day, before like Major League Baseball like did its thing, there was the Illinois. A mean word for a Chinese person.
Yes.
There's a baseball team. Yes. Like apparently there's a long history of this sort of madness.
You can always count on America. Top quality names, right? Top quality names.
Laney says, I've had the same phone number for over 20 years. I've never changed it. But have you moved, Laney? Is that phone number from LA? Is it from Alaska? That's the problem. These people who keep their numbers from crazy places. Yeah. And like for instance, this mutual friend we talked about, he hasn't been in LA 15, maybe 20
years. Yeah.
And then like I'm like, why are you a 301? You know what I mean? It's crazy.
It's madness. Laney said, and he called
a non-acceptance of where they live.
Can't let go of the past. And he called Black Widow a slut. Yeah, I remember him and Chris Evans joking about this, which is so dumb for people to hate on him so much. Yeah. Talking about a fictitious character, not Scarlett Johansson herself, called the character.
Well, comic book Black Widow is definitely a hoe.
She does what she has to do, right?
She is. Well, I'm not going to finish that sentence.
Right. Let's talk about The Witcher.
Okay, Witcher.
Oh, did you watch it yet?
I have not watched it, but I've heard all the rumors and stuff going around.
4-part miniseries takes place 1,000 years before the events of the current show, The Witcher. I forget what they call their conversion of universes, but it's the event that leads up to that. And man, it is bad. It is so bad. We talked about this while you were
going to say something different.
No, we talked about this while we were all blitzed the other night. I figured you wouldn't remember, but I sat down and watched it the day before New Year's, and I watched it all in one shot. And I have nothing positive to say about the show. I will say this: nothing positive to say. There are things that were less bad than other portions, but let me just juxtapose it to the current Witcher show, The Witcher proper, on Netflix. I saw no difference in the quality of production, which leads me to believe one thing: this shit's going downhill after season 3, man. Once Cavill's gone, and I'm not the biggest Witcher fan, right? I'm not deep into the lore. I respect it. It's a huge fandom. Huge. People are fucking ferocious about this. But man, this shit made absolutely no sense. Like none. And I'm not even talking about like the race bending stuff. That's okay. I can deal with that. You know, you go to see Hamlet on Broadway, it could be a black guy playing it. No, that's not it. That's low hanging fruit. I'm just saying, man, just the story was so underwhelming. It blew my mind, man. Absolutely blew my mind. Now, I want to lay this out properly for you, so maybe you'll have a better experience watching it for me than me. But when I sat through it, from the beginning, the very first episode, the conflict that starts the show, to the moment it ended, I had said to myself, who greenlit this? All the way to a point where they have, slight spoiler alert, a proto Witcher in the show. And I was like, where the fuck did they pull this shit from? It's bad, bro. It's bad.
So my question is, and this actually might speak to the worth of Henry Cavill.
Right.
We know him as Superman. We know him as whatever, you know. I guess he doesn't play anything else. But
from
yeah, Mission Impossible, he was great in that. But like, oh yeah, he's a good villain. He can definitely play a villain. But the question is, do you think that, because a lot of people complain, like Witcher fans complain that the series, the main series, is not canonical either. It goes all over the place.
They went everywhere.
And so the question is, do you think that the sole popularity of Witcher was solely Henry Cavill?
Yes, I think a lot of what drew it in was because it was like right after landing there with the original controversy of the DC. I think the first season people came in because it's such a popular IP. People flocked to see Geralt, and they're like, "Oh man, this is gonna be awesome!" And that's why I came originally. And I actually enjoyed season 1 and season 2. But now watching Blood Origins and then thinking about what season 4 is going to be like without Cavill, I realized that I stuck around for season 2 because of Cavill.
And so it's interesting that you said season 4, because you know what the rumor on the streets are, right?
What them streets saying?
And they're saying that the new Hemsworth Witcher is actually going to be reboot.
Yes, I've heard this, that this the prequel series is supposed to be rebooting it.
I mean, if they're going to reboot, they need to wait a couple of years. They need to chill. Put their heads down, hide a little.
I don't see that from the story, and you'll see what I'm saying. Some people have come up with this theory that they're going to reboot it, and actually it just ties into what's going on in the main series.
And not only that, remember, Henry Cavill finished season 3. We're going to get a season 3 Henry Cavill Witcher before he exits.
Yeah. The Rotten Tomato scores, which, you know, Rotten Tomatoes isn't the be all end all, but critics and fans united in how much they dislike this. Now you can say the fans review bombed it, but are you accusing the fine critics of review bombing it as well? Last time I checked, it had like a 38%.
Yeah, critics are rarely critics going to be paid off. You just throw them a 20 and they're good. These bums, they're trying to pay their rent.
And so are we. So we're waiting to sell out. So you guys send those contracts over. We'll say any shill thing you want us.
Yeah, I will shill for you, Netflix. Oh my god, I love Emily in Paris.
And then here's the thing.
That's a sample. You can get even more.
Like their subscription account is down in Europe. It's predicted they'll lose over 700,000. I think in 3 or 4 years that there's some shit they're saying like that, man. And they just canceled Warrior Nun, a show I'm not watching. It's all adding up to, man, Netflix is always going to Netflix, man. And now I have officially put them in the same camp as Lucasfilm and DC. How can we fuck up our IPs on a day-to-day basis is what these meetings have to be. They're like, what can we do today?
It's utterly insane. The question is, what would you do if you're the Witcher, the Witcher showrunner?
If I was the Witcher showrunner, right? and I understand no one wants to make the same mistake, the same perceived mistake as what happened with the Snyder cut. But I think at a certain point, I'm providing a product and I have to look at, how that product's being received, right? And if you're going to go into something that's so lore rich, right? And the lore is what made it popular. And this just goes to show how people still disrespect video games, right? They don't understand the medium of games, the interactive potential of it. And that's why people enjoy it. I think I take a step back and I say, hey, what does it really harm us how does it harm us in any way, shape, or form to give the people, at the very least, what they read, a visual representation? In what shape or form do we lose? Right now, I can understand editing things out that don't translate well to television, right, or to streaming, but taking out whole chunks of the story and changing the lore entirely for no apparent reason other than we have our own vision. Well, we didn't show up for your vision, right? No, I didn't sign up for your vision.
I didn't. I never show up for a stranger's vision.
Yeah. So that's what I would do, and I would immediately scrap season 4. I would stop any production on it right now and start looking at how we can course correct, or just do what we know Netflix is going to do, which is cancel it after season 3. I agree with Lane. I think there's a very big chance that they pull the plug on this thing, because we've seen what they've done with popular shows. They're like,
and what shows the power of Henry Cavill, especially since, have you noticed that hashtag Fire James Gunn has mutated into Fire James Gunn and Peter Safran?
Yeah. Yes.
And so it's not ending. The trauma is not ending because, like I said it before, Snyder Cut fans have long memories.
Yes, they do.
And I hear a lot of them, which I don't even understand this thought process. They're like, I'm not going to watch Witcher season 3. I'm like, but it has your boy in it.
Yeah, I'm going to go support that for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And to be honest, I'll watch season 4, right? I'll watch it just because we're going to report on it. And that's why I watched Blood Origins. But I'll say this, man, something has to be truly, truly bad for them to say, hey, you know what? Rings of Power was better. Because people won't admit that show's good on any level, right? But
I have it on my worst of the year list.
What, Rings of Power?
Yeah. Lainey says, yes, I moved to Florida 4 years ago. Okay. Lainey enjoyed the new Witcher.
Okay.
Arm says, I'm going to keep my 718 number forever.
You hold on to that. And all you 718s and you 212s, keep those phone numbers, man.
Oh, 212, I would never give up.
Got to protect 212.
I could live on Mars. I'm still going to be a 212, bitch.
That's right, man.
RM says, hot Gerald plus Yennefer topless. Season 2 was lacking. You know what? This is an unpopular opinion. I think that The Witcher in general responds to too much sexuality and pretty people and hotness. And I just feel like it's not a genuine story. You know what I'm saying?
You're talking about the Netflix story?
Netflix, yeah, the Netflix. They're like, we don't have substance for a story. Well, don't worry, they're hot. They'll handle it. They'll pull it off.
And you see a little bit of that in Witcher 3, the Wild Hunt, if I got the name of the game correct. Like, there is that famous scene in The Witcher 3 where it starts off and he's in not a hot tub, but he's in the bath, and Yennefer has some type of creepy crawlers swimming around in there with him, and he's like, I told you, not right now, type of shit. And I'm like, oh, Geralt's in some weird play. But I get what you're saying, man. It's a poor man's Game of Thrones. And I remember when the show was being released, people were asking, was this going to be the thing that was going to compete with Game of Thrones? And then I watched the first season, and I'm like, no, it's not, man.
Within the first, I agree with you. People were saying that, and I was like, I got to watch. I watched the first episode, and I was like, no.
No. Oh, we should, after this, we got to get into a little Game of Thrones talk, because the author has come out and said some concerning things about some of the spinoffs in regards to the WB acquisition and all that type of shit.
Right. Lainey says season 4 isn't going to happen. They should finish with Cavill in season 3. No one wants Hemsworth. I absolutely agree. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was horribly written, but it kept me entertained.
I'll say that the fight scenes in there's some great action sequences. That much. Okay, so I have that to say positive about it.
RM says that's part of the books and games, so I don't blame horny nerds. Okay.
Yeah. You want to jump into some Game of Thrones to close it out?
Yeah, Game of Thrones. Let's talk some Game of Thrones before we finish this bitch. So tell us, what did he say?
Essentially that several of the shows are still in pre-production, and then other shows have been shelved. And that, he said, now he did say that just because something has been shelved doesn't mean it can't be unshelved. And to that, I said, right, there's always the potential of that. But yeah, we don't know which prequels or continuations are going to be coming out. I assume they're still going to do the Jon Snow show because I think there's some fertile ground there. People would watch that, but this is my problem when you don't stick to the landing. A lot of fandoms can't survive that. Something like Star Wars, they can do a bad trilogy, new trilogies, and people are like, all right, we'll see what happens. But Game of Thrones, I don't know, man. I was surprised that I still haven't finished House of the Dragons, and I was surprised with how well that was received.
Yo, my man, how many spinoffs do you feel that you thought were in production?
I don't know. It seemed like they had greenlit a bunch of shit, and like
they had greenlit 8.
Wow.
Television. You know how these things work. 8 spinoffs never happens. They had an animated show.
Yeah,
prepared for it. They had they had Jon Snow. They had the ancient Starks doing their thing. They had all these other things. The black dude with all the ships from House of Dragons, or his family, the origins of his family were gonna get a show. That's OD. And much. So I'm not that surprised that someone put a lid on that.
Not at all.
I'd be like, do we really need all this shit?
Especially with how everything going on at HBO Max. HBO is another, Warner Brothers. The rollout for HBO Max was just amateur level. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that some of this shit is getting axed, man. Because really, why don't we just focus on will the next 2 seasons of House of Dragon be worth watching? Now, you told me that season 1 ended amazingly. A lot of people agree with you, right? Now let's see how strong season 2 and 3 is. And then I'd say around the time season 2 is wrapping up, based on the popularity of that, then you roll out the Jon Snow show.
I have my problems. With House of Dragons.
Right.
I don't think it's perfect. However, it's good enough to make me come back to Thrones because, quite frankly, Game of Thrones ending the series was so disgusting. I didn't think I was going to give this show a chance.
So bad.
So they definitely made this different. Sometimes it's different in ways I really don't like. Like, about the time jumps.
Yeah,
they do these drawing time jumps, like one episode. They do one episode, and then you jump like 5 or sometimes 10 years, and I'm like,
what happened?
Why the fuck would you do that? And all the actors are different.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's so alarming. It's upsetting. However, when it's good, it's good.
Okay, I'm still
gonna politics of family stuff. It's just going nuts. And I wouldn't say it's a perfect show. I certainly wouldn't put it top. It's not like top 5 or anything. You know what I'm saying? It definitely it did sucky things enough to get pushed out of the top 5.
Okay.
But it is a good show. But I'm gonna say they can't keep doing this trick.
No, they need to stick in season 2 based on what you've reported and your own videos and what other people have said. Season 2, I would assume we don't need any more time jumps and we just follow the story as is until conclusion. And then if you're going to do a Jon Snow show, my only ask for that show, actually, I'd be more interested in seeing what happened to the little sister when she got on the boat. But if you're going to do a Jon Snow show, then I need to know the big bad, right? Who's the big bad for his show? Because effectively...
It's crazy. We saw his story from like a bastard little piece of shit, training, becoming a warrior, a knight, blah, 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 all this shit. I feel like his story is done. There's no more Jon Snow to tell me.
Yeah, and it's like, so what? He's off with the wildlings and they're rebuilding their non-civilization. Like what the fuck? Who's the big bad in that shit?
And I gotta say, the non-civilized, the free folk or whatever, garbage.
Yeah,
I do not want to see more shows taking place in there.
They sucked. I would rather see what happened to the Unsullied, like, watch their slow demise into extinction since they can't reproduce.
Another crazy thing about the flaws of the finale of Game of Thrones. They say, they're like, what will we do? And they're like, you could go off and make your own house. There's like, they can't because they don't have women. They can't reproduce, so they can't have a house.
So I've contemplated on this a bit, and I'm like, the only thing I can see them doing is adopting and raising warrior class people, right?
Which is you gotta abduct children.
Or find them.
Find them. Where's there's an orchard with a bunch of kids. You're gonna find the Cabbage Patch. Cabbage Patch kids are out there. We're like, babies grow here. No, man. You either have to constantly keep stealing children or some shit, but it's ridiculous.
Right. That's why I said, what's the young Stark's name? The deaf dealer.
Beginning or
no? What's her name? The youngest one. Arya. Now I'd be interested in seeing her story, but again, it's like finite because no matter what happens, I'm going to tie it back to that horrible ending. So I don't know. I'm not bummed out that a lot of this shit is getting sliced because maybe someone's at the reins going, hey, it's about quality versus quantity. Why don't we just focus on giving people quality stories for as long as we can? And he's never going to finish that book, right? I think we've all agreed on that, right? Like, what's the point in writing it at this point?
He gets really angry. Have you seen this? He gets super angry when people say, they're like, I don't know if he'll live to finish the book, and then he'll probably be like, fuck you all, I'm gonna live forever and write the next 17 books. And I'm like, no,
you were too. People were contemplating your demise on Twitter. That is
the problem. We are too much into celebrities' like lives. We have a writer, and we're bullying a writer to finish his work. Although he should finish his fucking work.
RM says Jon Snow being sad that he banged his aunt and murdered her. Yep. Beck says Arya the goat. So I don't want to take away from Arya's. That was a great scene. I did enjoy it. I think I'm in a minority. A lot of people hate that she's the one that killed the White Walker King
because there were all these clues to the chosen one, and then none of them led to her.
Yeah.
And then suddenly she's the chosen one. So it was like,
and then the brother becomes the king. I was really looking forward to a showdown between Jon Snow and the White King. Like, I really was. That's what I came for. And, sometimes you got to let the story take you where it's going to go. But that was some bullshit, in my opinion.
Personally, I would have let Jon Snow win the battle with the White Walkers and have that victory. And then I would have had him killed off in some way and give the throne to Daenerys.
Yes.
And I think fans would have been satisfied with that.
Yeah, those two bastards will never work in Hollywood again, the directors.
And so Daenerys keeps being in stuff, and it's always flops or it's not popular, and she's just not. She tries to do romantic comedy. Unfortunately, we need romantic comedies, but when you're in a romantic comedy, you are the weakest link.
Yeah, rom-coms are at the bottom of the social experience, which is why Jennifer Lopez is like, I hate Marvel. I'm like, well, shut the fuck up, J-Lo. You should just be happy.
She wishes she was in Eternal. She's like, Selma Hayek and Angelina Jolie get to be in there, and I don't. And we're like, there's a good reason.
Even though I do like that movie she made about the strippers robbing people. That was actually really good. I forget.
I like that movie. Yes.
It's a great movie. You got anything else, bro?
I think those are all our major topics. We hit it up, man. This has been a crazy week, but let me ask you, what are we gonna do for the rest of this month to stave off January no newsness?
Oh, yuck. I gotta be honest with you, man. I'm really avoiding a lot of scoop situations. No games coming out. I mean, obviously, Jedi Survivor comes out in March. I'll be hitting that shit up, and I promise.
January, that's the problem.
And I promise to stick that time, and I will enjoy the experience with you guys. Maybe I just won't talk to you in the chat while I'm playing the game. I won't fucking become a weirdo playing by myself at 2 a.m.
You have to realize that as a content creator, being a weirdo playing by yourself at 3 a.m. is the point of it all.
I want to make sure we differentiate. I'm playing by myself, not with myself.
He's playing a video game with himself. Sassy.
Sassy, spicy.
Yeah, this is some spicy shit. Ultimately, if we don't have good news next week, we're still gonna go on. However, we'll do some sort of weird game or fun thing.
Yeah.
We'll go on TikTok, we'll diss people or something.
Yeah, maybe we would have a geek panel, maybe a blurred cave or a blurred herd.
Oh, yeah. We'll make sure something's going on because the fanboy modeling school this train is not stopping for anyone.
No, absolutely not. You got anything going on this week, man, with Rogue Planet?
Oh, shit, that's tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah, my days have been off, like total. I'm like thrown off. I don't know what's going on. I'll think of something. Actually, there's nothing to report on. I'll figure it out. Hopefully, someone will do something stupid tomorrow so I can report on it.
You can always come on. If it's cool with her, come on Pillow Talk with Bex tomorrow if you're free.
What app is that on?
The app that shall not be named.
Okay, so I'll catch you guys after. But always a good time. I love you all. Obviously, as fanboy modeling school, always having a good time.
Right,
we're living that dream.
Super fun.
Night Fam says the lady. Let's see what's going on with everybody. Night Fam hashtag fangirls for fanboys. You know I love that, Bex. You know what it does to me. But this is the Fanboy Modeling School signing off for our first episode of 2023. We're only going bigger and stronger this year.
Right. And Chris Evans, Mantis wants the truth before the end of 2023.
I want my enemies dead, and I want the fucking truth. If you can help me do this, then you're my people. If you get in my way, you're going to be one of the other bodies left behind me. Do you understand that?
Good night, y'all.
Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, ciao for motherfucking now.